Good morning, everyone. Welcome back. We had a day off yesterday. Catch up or whatever. Anyways, here we are. And we begin the day with a monstrous type of reversal day. For what reason? I have no idea. But we'll see if it can hold on to this move back up. We're looking at the S&P mini futures and look different than the SPX. The futures sold off after the close. And they kept going down. You know, they were up a bit and then they sold off. And so here we are at the beginning of the day yelling. I mean, that's like watching whatever, episode 3, the replay again, What's that show Dan likes where they kill people on the water? Jason, like episode 56, done. Anyway. So what are they happy about? Continued corruption. Sorry to say, but proud to be an American? I don't think so. Anyway, so all the way back up here, up into resistance. So while we got a big reversal day, it's going to hit a wall here. Just looking at the the futures, they got some room, but you can see they've been chopping around here for a while. And so little topping tail and red bar ignores. It's not going anywhere. So if it can get through the high, theoretically could continue to go higher, but you got two bottoming tail bars, that were attempts to move down and they failed and the red bars ignored and so on. So getting above here, it should be able to. And if it does, well, then you know the story. It better not break below there or it's going to be a problem. Because when the pattern suggests bullish price action after creating a void, and it makes the next move to confirm that price action by breaking out, if it comes back in, that's bearish. So still an uptrend, squared off top, but still at minor support. Hasn't come down here to the next level. So we'll give the benefit of the doubt to the trend. So far, just a consolidation on the weekly time frame. Let's just look at SPX here. You can see how it had the bottoming tail bar, but as I said, the futures sold off into the close. Now, obviously, in 2020 hindsight, this morning, I was getting things moving. That was Friday. Today's Tuesday, and pretty bullish move. So now we'll just have to really see how this shapes up. So what are we dealing with now? In reality, we've got a sloppy uptrend, overlapping bars, a new high, this chop and this failure to go higher after the bottoming tail bar and up bar, it fails, right? So that brings in the sellers. It's in an uptrend. We don't have a buy setup here, meaning we need to see this make some kind of a turn down here on the rising 20, not a gap down from a consolidation. That should have been a breakout. So they've got a failure to break out in a bullish trend where this initial move happened after a choppy consolidation. This should have been enough for it to be able to drive higher, and it couldn't. So whatever's happening today, putting it in the retrospect of what is going on, we're still dealing with the uncertainty, and we'll see what unfolds through tomorrow. For SPX, up above here, and just based on where the futures are, let's say below 37.40, because they got to travel all the way back down to it and then test this Friday's low. 37.35 should be fine with a day like that, because as I said, we're starting up here. and just based on what the futures are. So this gapping up, it's got an unfilled gap, it's got resistance. Theoretically, and that's what we do for spreads, theoretically, you know, borrow one of these lines. It won't be able to get through that today. And, it's got to come all the way back down. He's got to travel from here all the way back down here where there's going to be support. And then you got the 20 MA, which has been tested once, which I look at that as having been weakened as a reference point because, it's like you want to relate it to, putting a sledgehammer against something. Well, the first time you hit it, maybe you knock a few things loose, but the second time you hit it, it's going to be weaker. So a little extra room. And if it's down there, then you got to reassess, of course, and say, hey, does it bounce? Does it not bounce? Because now you're into feeling some pain. If it's all the way back down there, you're going to keep going. So some adjustments might have to be made, but those are the levels that I see for today. You're in the middle of the range. Up above here should be okay. Down below here should be okay. We'll see what happens. NASDAQ futures, same kind of reversal. Now this makes more sense to me anyway. To have that big red bar come down on top of a bottoming tail bar and then a 180 reversal, which you can see prices are backing off here a bit. And none of us know what this is going to look like at the end of the day. And, can you imagine? Just, imagining keeps you honest because we all know anything can happen. But just imagine that what's up here, at the end of the day, it looks like that. It sells off and comes just down to the next level of support. And you see these opening closes are clustered there. That's where your next level of support would be if this did start to go down. And of course, then that opens up the door to, the following day and so on. So we don't know. Right now, pre-market prices have run a little bit of a race. They're into some congestion here. So I suspect the open is not going to be one in which we want to just jump in there quickly. We rarely ever do that, but all right. YM all the way back up. Right? Impressive looking. I mean, it's 912 here. And the end of the day, we can be impressed. It's got room to keep going. There's nothing there. And here's the concept of, you're looking at this stuff over here and saying, "Wow, what about all that, Greg?" Well, time and time again over the years, I've seen prices just rip higher in situations like this. How do you make sense out of that when there's all this congestion here? Well, when you start seeing it time and time and time and time again, came up with the rule: it trades above and down below. It's been neutralized. Does it mean it won't stop somewhere in here? Of course not. It might. But that brings in the concept of creating resistance where there is none, because right now over here, there is nothing until it gets up here. So, same story, we shall see how that unfolds. See what the possibly forming what Dan calls a bear sandwich. Repeating, but the beginning of the day, we shall see where this ends up. I don't want to assume too much, but running as far as this has, coming up into an area of resistance, we may just be sitting here today in a trading range waiting for tomorrow to see if those 25,000 soldiers have to kill some patriots because they're angry. But, yeah, this is what this country's coming to. When you lie, cheat, and steal and pillage from a lot of people, they tend to do some crazy stuff. Well, we wouldn't think so, Robert, because we'd never think about doing such things. The people that are crazy, you can't make sense out of crazy. All right, so bonds are consolidating here, right? And there's your void, the wide range bar. The factory work. Those who've been here for a while, we just look at stay in the lower half. If it's really bearish, it stays in the lower third like this is, and it begins to create a resistance area to fall again from. So that's where this is at right now, but like everything else appears to be in a bit of a holding period today. Moving otherwise. Oil came in kind of hard. Uh, I made the point that this was a possibility last week because the dollar seems to be finding some footing, and it had a good day on Friday. It's still at a downtrend here, but it cleared the first pivot on the daily time frame. And so it's down here this morning, which is helping oil move back up again. But things might get a bit erratic while we see if the dollar starts to push up. Now, the other side of that, besides just the oil connection, you have people in Europe that invest in the US markets. And while the dollar's going down, that's pretty good for them because they convert their pounds, euros, whatever to dollars. Now it starts to move up, US investments start to become less attractive. And so we'll see. This dollar keeps going up. It may become something that becomes a focus. Right now, it's trying to bottom out. And as I've said, bottoming patterns are treacherous, and this is still in a downtrend here, and it hasn't even reached the support down below. But something we'll keep an eye on. And U.S. companies, their products become more attractive as far as pricing with a cheap dollar. Gold, another pattern of will it look like this at the end of the day? If it is, we've got the beginnings of a breakdown failure or a shakeout. So that was a pretty nasty reversal down toward this support level. And we'll see if it can continue to repair the damage. We'll see what that looks like at the end of the day. Silver looks very similar. Transports look pretty okay. Had that red day yesterday, but red day doesn't change a trend, and it did break out to a new high, and it's got a decent looking weekly bar, week before last. So overall, all of this looks good. Markets look pretty good. We'll see how it unfolds and see what the trading brings to us day to day. All yours, Dan.
All right, good morning. Hope everyone had a good long weekend. Yeah, just glancing at the Dow 30 here, every single one green. Yeah, I think McGraw hit it right. The Yellen is wanting to just print, spend, and that's what the markets are liking. So diamonds look higher. Goldman had earnings. That's up the most of the Dow. Look at that, coronavirus, businesses shutting down, and Goldman. I just don't get it. It rallied from 180 to 307. Absolute craziness. Let's see. They're asking about Tesla. Bear call spread under Friday's low. Yes. Yep, that's on my list. Friday's low. I like Tesla. And yeah, I know, Joe, but I do. I mean, we only have 2 open positions in the weekly options trader. So we're very light there, and we have 12 opens in the advisory letter, and they're 100% long, Joe. So, I know you're kidding, because we do trade the charts. It's just, I look at it in amazement. But yeah, I mean, look at, that's a beautiful gap on Tesla. Right here was a beautiful resting breakout bar right there. And now it's getting tired. It's a bullish gap up. It's not gapping as much into Friday's range as the Qs and many other things are. But yeah, under Friday's low, that's a definite bear call credit spread. All right, so the only opens in the weekly are XPEV put spread. Had a deeper tracement, but our put spread is under the WRB. We got the 45s gapping up here to 49.50. So that looks good. And then plug got climactic last week. We're short the 80s, way the heck up there. So even though it's gapping $3 against us, it's still $17 away. Our short strength. Yeah, back had earnings. Yeah, gap down. Yeah, so maybe it's depends on how aggressive you want to get in, but maybe 10, 15, 30-minute low. Let's look at some other gappers here. Facebook, we have Facebook as a call spread, and I didn't like the strength on Friday. Deep into this bar, so we closed it at a nice profit. And now it's gapping up over this red bar. So even though it's in a downtrend, because it's far from the 20, and because that's a nice reversal, then that's actually a put spread idea for Friday. Matul, Pan. Matul, you got to tell me what you're thinking, because I don't know. It's gapping up into this ugly breakdown bar. Wow, that was a small little Bear Island reversal there. That looks like a short-term top on daily, weekly, monthly. Look at that run. That is a climactic sell setup, topping tail on the monthly. So yeah, I think we should look for that sector to short bounces and call spreads. Knox gapping 50. Yeah, but it's gapping to resistance. There's no pattern there. AMC, this little movie company. Well, McGraw, you've been with us long enough. And we just talked about it. I'll trade anything, with a compelling pattern. All right, AMC, I don't know what the news is, but that's percent-wise a big bounce, but that's junk. It's a junk bombing pattern. Cream. Yeah, we'll keep that same stuff. CLSK. Yeah, I didn't have CRM in my list, so yeah, I said we had 12 longs. I forgot to put that on the open trade spreadsheet. That's why I didn't mention it. Oh no, it's there. It's there. So we have 11 longs and 1 short. There you go. Look at this. This was an M top with a lower high, bearish engulfing. You got horizontal support in the 20, but it's climactic on the weekly. That's a look to sell a call spread on a bounce. On BlackBerry, had a nice pop on Thursday. It's gapping into Friday's bar here, but maybe 30-minute high. You might get a nice little day trade. Let's see, RPT. I just had an alarm go off. This is on my watch list as a 1, 2, 3. Logi had earnings gapping up to 103. And there's no good pattern. JV Hunt got an upgrade. It's a bullish daily, weekly, monthly. Let's watch that on a pullback. Triple M had positive mention in Barron's, but junk pattern unless it can get over last week's high. And then it has a price void. It could be, just riding the elevator up for a day or two. Schwab had earnings, gapping up. That's actually bullish here. Let's watch the 30-minute high. Look at that beautiful gap breakout. Wow. Look at that. Gapping. These are the ones I love. You got a little bit of a shock pattern. If you get a downside shakeout, if you get gapping over a red bar, but see how it's not gapping too big. And you see the tiny tail, which means it didn't retrace much in the morning or any time in the day. ONB gapping down. I think this was earnings too. It was actually a bullish pattern if it could take out last week's high, but now it's gapping down. Jake, what is your question? I looked at it already and I already answered you. Pets, that's an ugly bar. It had earnings, so that must be either earnings reaction or conference call comments. Hal had earnings gapping up, had a nice gap reversal, but we'll come back to it, see if it can stabilize. Gapping down a little bit, no pattern. STT, a bank, had earnings. CMA had earnings, no pattern, it's kind of extended. T-Doc, McGraw, he sent me this, or the sector, or whatever. I said, well, now that I look at the weekly, it's right there at major resistance, but if it can go sideways here, it came out of a base with a bear sandwich. This is strength. So if it can give us one more week of an inside week, McGraw, then yeah, you can buy a breakout and or sell a put spread. Home Depot, you mentioned, McGraw. I like this 180 reversal. So I like that under Thursday's low for a put spread. T-Doc 190. Well, if it can take out last week's high, then you can do it under this red bar. Anything under 219, but it has to take out that. YouTube's asking about edit short. All right, it's down. I can mark off 73. It's still on horizontal. It's still on horizontal support with no great price void, but it is weak. It has a big old topping tail from Friday. It's gapping down. It's basing at the low with the market strong. So it's it's worth watching. I guess wish it had a price void though. It's, this is a tough area here. NNDM gapping up to $11. Yeah, maybe 30-minute high. Givo, big gap. Gap's too big for me. But look at I like looking at patterns where, I used to have this exercise, and you know what, green room, we should do this sometime. I used to do it when I had live labs, but we would just scan stocks and say, hey, what pattern jumps out at you? Any pattern. What's the best pattern that you see on this? And mine would be right here, this gap breakout. Look at that, right there on 1217. Red bar ignored, consolidation into the rising 20, right there. This, it's extended because of 2050 here, but this was a beautiful gap reversal here too. It's too extended now, but could have been a core trade. Look at this thing. Used to be 160,000. Is this one of those SPACs? So a new company went into his skin. That thing came back to life. I mean, this one too. I mean, something's up with it on Friday. That's a big move. Um, ale alarm. Look, my up alarm went off, which is good. We've been in this since this 1, 2, 3, folks. This has just been a easy trade to manage. So we still have a third left. And then, this Wednesday, MT Live, yeah, things are, Facebook has had the biggest gap and it's selling off a little bit, but the others are strong. So Wednesday, which is tomorrow, because yesterday was a holiday, tomorrow, we're talking about determining targets and trailing pivots and so forth. So this was Ale was a good example. Where's your target on this thing? It had a price void on all time frames. XPath, yeah, a nice turnaround day. Yeah, yeah, we have a put spread, but I just don't trade in the first 5 minutes. Typically on Mondays, I just wait 10 minutes, just kind of a general rule. But it looks fantastic. So that's, for day trade, swing trade, I'm just not going to be chasing it right here at 932. FSS swing. Um, it's a sloppy kind of bull flag. Here's your flag pole. Here's your 30-degree counter trend channel. It had a beautiful closing 15-minute chart. It's gap into resistance. Weekly, maybe he's asking core. So now let me look at the monthly. It's right there at resistance. It's not a great core pattern to me, but it's in an uptrend, daily, weekly, monthly. So maybe 30-minute high, stop Friday's low would be okay. And then, yeah, it is a 1, 2, 3 Gertz, but it's far from the 20, which makes it higher risk for swing trading. But day trade looks fantastic. Wow. Wow. I think I remember trading that when it was $4. And I remember this DRI. I remember this one. We sold the $10 puts. I think it was like for $1.70. These things at the bottom of the Corona, they were priced like for bankruptcy. That's an amazing recovery. All right, glancing at opens. Marijuana coming in. We had a bear call credit spread on Tilray, which I still like. You know, these are beautiful gap and craps. We're in at core. Aflac, we're in a half lot, the other half over last week's high. EBIX is a 1, 2, 3 over the highs. Alfa Romeo we have as a core long.